This is one of the most exciting times of the year. Schools are getting ready to open nationwide, and a lot of teachers are going to start their first year. I take a moment and think about my first year as a teacher, and the first week specifically, and all of the things I learned in that first week. It involved venomous arachnids, a student getting bit by a bat, and several other things that I learned. I made a lot of mistakes on the first day of school, and I rectified them the second and third day. So let's talk about that for a second. You're going to make mistakes. Just try not to make them as big as I did the first day. So the first day of school, I thought to myself, what can I do to make this course really exciting for the students? Well, that's easy. I can have them go out and catch Florida native animals for extra credit, and we can do show and tell when they bring them in. Seems innocent enough. You would think students would have some common sense. Don't ever think students have common sense. Grave mistake. So I tell them, go ahead and catch some Florida native animals, bring them in. When you bring them in, I will identify them and we will do show and tell, and you'll get extra credit. So day two comes, about 20 minutes before class. I walk down the hall, and there's literally a line of students outside my door with jars and cages. I was so excited. I was like, cool, let's see what they brought in. And then I opened up the door, went in. What does the first student have? He has 2 scorpions in a jar. I was like, dude, don't bring in scorpions. The next person has a black widow that he caught. I was like, wow. A third student had a walking stick, and she goes, what's the milky white substance that's on the side of the jar? I looked at her and said, he's trying to spit acid in your eyes. So I told the students, we need some rules. I need to give you guys some ground rules so that we are not bringing in things that can harm us. So I laid out the rules: no venomous animals, no snakes, no spiders, no mammals. I laid it out so that they knew what they were not supposed to bring in. So the third day, I see a group of students standing around in a circle, and I see one student at my door that they're all looking at. And I walk over and I'm like, what do you have? And he looks at me and his finger's bleeding and he has a bat. Really? A bat? I told him, I go, no mammals. I go, what class period are you in? And he goes, well, I'm not in your class. And I'm like, really? Why are you bringing me animals if you're not in my class? And he goes, because I heard you were cool. I was like, oh, all right. I go, bring the bat into the classroom and put it in this cage, because it's a good thing you kept the bat, because now we can figure out if he has rabies. If he had not kept the bat, the student would have to get the rabies shot series, and that's not pleasant. So I alerted administration. I told them, I go, this isn't even my student. I go, please, this is not my fault. This is not my student. As a punishment, on a side note, they actually made him take my class and enroll in my class after it on the third day of school, saying, if you're going to mess with the animals, you need to know what you're doing and take Cole's class. So we send the bat off to Tallahassee to be tested for rabies. I'm not going to go into a long story about that, but in order to do that, they had to kill the bat. It was unfortunate. Fortunately for the student, the bat did not have rabies, which is good news. So he did not have to get the rabies shot. So I learned a lot of things from this first week of school that was incredibly chaotic. I will throw in one other thing. The press got wind of the bat biting the student at the school. And the assistant principal contacted me. She goes, Kris, you handled this situation incredibly, because you knew exactly what to do as far as rabies and keeping the bat and all of those things. She goes, do you want to handle the press on this? I'm sitting there thinking, I'm a third day teacher. I've literally been teaching for 3 days. I go, sure, I'll handle it. And I said, go ahead and send them up to my classroom. So we had a news reporter come up to my classroom, and when she got up there, I told her the situation, that he wasn't even my student, and that this is what we're doing. And we actually turned what was going to be potentially a negative article into a very positive article about what we were doing in the classroom. And she loved it, and the article she wrote was glowing. It was terrific, but it could have went the other way if we had not handled it properly. But yeah, I learned a lot of things as far as collecting animals for extra credit and different things. Make sure, if you're going to do things, if you're a biology or an environmental science teacher, you lay out some ground rules as far as that goes. And for those of you guys who have a rough first week, just remember that on the third day of teaching in my career, I literally had a student standing in the hall holding a bat with blood dripping off of his fingers onto the floor, followed by the press asking how this happened. So if you have a really rough first week, you can think back to this story and keep things in perspective. What did I learn from all of this? One, always keep administration in the loop with anything that's going on and ask for advice. If you don't know something, always reach out to administration, keep them in the loop, and ask for advice. Two, after the mistakes that were made on the first day, I've revised the curriculum to where we go into an entire unit about field safety and what is appropriate to bring in and what's not appropriate to bring in. It's okay to make mistakes. You want to keep them small. You don't want anything to be a career ender. But when you do make a mistake, you want to be coachable and change it and fix whatever the mistake was. All right, hopefully you've learned some things from this video. Hopefully you enjoyed hearing what my first week was like. And hopefully yours goes a lot smoother and you don't end up in the press for anything. So if you enjoyed this, please hit the like button. Please think about subscribing. And this is Cole Sterone. Thanks.